Welcome to another episode of XR Talk Show. So let's see what we're gonna talk about today. I'm going to show you some math books. Actually, I'm going to show you this math book. I'm waiting for people to come in, and meanwhile, let me show you this book. Tilings and Patterns. Tilings and Patterns. So this is a kind of thick hardcover, heavyish book. Tiling and Patterns. It's by Grumbum and Shepard. They are mathematicians. Now this is a hardcore math book. Actually, it's fun to read. Let's see. Hi guys. So that book is fun to read. Let me go to my math blog. Well, actually, I need to edit. Yeah, type a topic you want me to cover, and we can do that. So today is 22nd. It's almost the end of the month now. Spring is coming. So outside we have on my street, apartment street outside, they have plums, beautiful plum trees, like all in Japan. It's everywhere. It's pink plum trees. I should take a photo. But anyway, so this is the book I was showing you. Tilings and Patterns. This is a math book. Let's see. Tilings and Patterns. And it's filled with great stuff. Well, it's hard to show you. But hi there. I got one guy watching. Say something. So let's go to my math blog. I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna talk about this book. So go to math blog and math textbooks, fun math books. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna show you some math books. Actually, I talked about this last time. So they are. If you are serious about studying math, you want to go to this page. So actually, let me go to this is a programming popularity, just updated. JavaScript is at the top. JavaScript, Java, C++, PHP, Python, and Ruby is right there. Objective C. So anyway, so Xali Math. So go to my math blog. Okay, this is my math page content, but let's see if we can find it. Let's say search for tiling. Okay, reading notes on tiling and patterns. That is one of them. And shit, these days I cannot find my topics. Hi there, say something. So as usual, the format is you ask me questions and I talk about it in real time. Actually, let me just go to let me just put, in case if you are new here, I'm a programmer for like over 20 years, and I'm also into mathematics. I'm an amateur mathematician. So usually I just talk about random things that is of interest to programming nerds or with math inclinations. So let me find talk. Yeah, so let's go to the talk page, and here is a topic that you can just ask me questions, and any of these or just any question actually, and I'll talk about that. So let me copy that and put it here, the info box. Hi guys. So at the YouTube, you should see it when it updates the information box. This got wrong. So I'm using Emacs. OOP and jargons. Yeah, object-oriented programming and jargons. Let's copy that. And put here. So any of these topics, you can just type in the comment question box, and I'll talk about that. Okay, so I'm going to show you this math book, but anyway, go to, okay, let me find it. Tiling and patterns book. There it is. So this book, this is actually my favorite math book of all math books I've read. This is my favorite. Now this book is so what is okay, first of all, this book is fun to read. I mean, even if you do not have mathematical background, you can begin to read it. I mean, yeah, and but however, it's also a very serious math book, meaning that if you have a math degree, this is still a good book. In fact, this book is like the Bible of the subject matter. I mean, any mathematician, doesn't matter if you are a PhD mathematician or a graduate or a professor, when you want to study or research on the subject of tilings and patterns, this is the book you must have, you must read, because it is a comprehensive treatment, almost a tiny encyclopedia on the subject matter. So what does it talk about? Well, the subject is tilings and patterns. Like you see all these, for example, this is tiling. These and these are kind of like patterns. So what is there to study about? I mean, mathematically, there's quite a lot. In fact, it's still a ongoing research. For example, let's say if you have a should I give an example? So, for example, if you have let's just go to Wikipedia. That's easier to talk about. Pentagon tiling. Okay, here is a pentagon tiling. Okay, so the question of this problem is that is it possible, or is it possible to tile the plane? Tile means you have a tile, just like the bathroom tile, using one proto tile. I mean, so you create a shape. Okay, for example, hexagon. Now everyone is familiar with hexagonal tiling. So you have a hexagon, regular hexagon, and you can tile it. In the bathroom, you'll see that often. Okay, but the question here is it possible to use a pentagon, not hexagon, but pentagon, and find that tile, and that will tile the plane? Now this is possible. However, so the question is, how many are there? What are the all possible ones? This is one of the question. So it says here in geometry, a pentagonal tiling is a tiling of the plane where each individual pieces is in the shape of a pentagon. Okay, uh, that's a general problem. Now there are other issues. Let's read it. Let's read on. A regular pentagon tiling on Euclidean plane is impossible. Okay, so first of all, it talks about regular pentagon. Regular pentagon is, like the U.S. Government building Pentagon. Regular Pentagon. So it is impossible to use that shape to tile the plane. Now, okay, it says it's impossible because internal angle of a regular pentagon is 108 degrees, not divisible, blah 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 blah. Then, however, regular pentagons can tile the hyperbolic. Okay, so anyway, so that's the flavor of the problem about tiling the plane. So you see one example of a problem, a mathematical problem about this tiling subject, tiling the plane. Then on this Wikipedia page, it shows you currently. I don't think this is completely solved problem. Well, the problem is to find all possible pentagons that will tile the plane. So, and actually, some of these discoveries, like the two of them, is just happened last 2 years ago. So your job is to find, a prototile, the shape of a tile to tile the plane, a single tile, single shape to tile the plane. That single tile is called the prototile. Okay, so your job is to find a shape, that is pentagon, and that can tile the plane. Now the question is, are these, so the Wikipedia shows 15 of them. The question is, are there more? I don't know if it's solved, proven that these 15 are, all the possible, or is it still an open question? I'm not sure, but you can find out by reading the page. So this is very interesting because this problem, it's not easy problem. You get the top mathematicians in the world. They cannot, just solve the problem. They can spend years. They cannot solve the problem. But however, this problem is very hard, very difficult. But however, in the past like 20 years, they are amateur mathematicians, meaning that people without any training in math, they have discovered, I think, 2 or 3 of the tilings using pentagon. So some of these are actually discovered by the mathematicians. So this example, math problem shows that some of the math problem is open problem, but it can be solved by the mathematicians. So that's an interesting example. So anyone here type something. So anyway, so that's so let's get back to the book. So this book, it's the classic, the best book on the subject. Now we talked about tilings, so that's one of the subject this book covers. You see, as the title implies, tilings and patterns. So tiling is part of the issue. Now there are other issues such as patterns. What do you mean by patterns? For example, let's go to tiling and pattern. Okay, so this book has been out of print, but you can buy it. So the Dover reprinted it. You can just go to my website, search for Xali tilings. For example, here. But anyway, you can find it on Amazon. But so it's been out of print for a few years. But Dover, Dover publication is known to reprint books cheaply. So they reprinted it with this cover. So yeah, if you have interest in math and you like geometry, this is a good book to begin your math career. You might be remembered as the person who discovered some tidings, some new solution to a math problem that's been open for 100 years. So that's this book, yeah, tidings and patterns. I read most of it. I read like half of the book uh, around 1997. So I still want to read it. And also when especially if you are a programmer, you read it, you can write programs about it. There are a lot of people who have written programs. I have, for example. Yeah, let me show you some of my programs. Why not? So again, if you are new here, just type something, ask me questions. Um, so so let's see. Xali Tiling Mathematica. So I wrote this. This is back in around 1997. I wrote this program that in Mathematica language that create this graph. Draw these tiling patterns. Yeah. So these are Mathematica notebooks, and they are like 20 years old. I wrote them 20 years ago. So, so for example, what does this show? So, before we talked about tilings, that's one of the many problems in mathematics. Now, this what you see here is an example about patterns. They call it patterns, but it relates to symmetry. It relates to group theory. It relates to braid theory or knot theory. So um, it's all it's all mathematics. And actually, the thing interesting about this math subject is that on one hand, it's very advanced mathematics. I mean, for example, knot theory is used in quantum theory. So, they study knots and braids. For example, you see these things going around. It looks like, you can trace the pattern where it goes, and you can find if there's a link, if, between, what kind of link forms the pattern. So that's link theory, braid theory, and these theories are used in quantum physics. I don't know about quantum physics, but it's used in there. And so yeah, so back to the topic. I'm saying what I'm saying is that these subjects, tilings and patterns, on one hand, they are very advanced. If even if you have a PhD degree in math, you can still study the subject and do research. And in fact, there are a lot of open questions on a subject. But meanwhile, the tilings and pattern subject is also what's called recreational math. There's a category of math called recreational math. Recreational math is such that it's math that any mathematician can understand it, can appreciate it. For example, you see this, you kind of you see what's going on. You can start to study it. So that's interesting. It's serious mathematics. Meanwhile, it's approachable. Even if you don't have like 4 years study of math, even if you don't have a math degree. So what this page shows, this pattern. So it relates to symmetry, study of symmetry, group theory, braids theory, and yeah, these three subjects at least. So you see what's going on here. You see this pattern is symmetric, meaning that if you just have this part, in fact, half of this triangle, you can generate the whole pattern. and you know, there are mathematical jargons for some of these things. For example, this is called a fundamental domain. Um, uh, this is a fundamental domain and stuff. So anyway, so I wrote this program. You know, you can generate these pretty graphs. Pretty images. For example, this one, you know, this one, it just looks like a kaleidoscope. Um, Keep the comments coming. Okay, type here, guys, so I can know, you know, so I know where I'm going. If this is interesting topic, you know, if you want to talk something else, type any questions. Um, so this image, you know, it looks like a kaleidoscope, but it actually, you know, um, this image is what mathematicians has classified wallpaper groups, meaning that the symmetry of wallpapers. So this one in particular, it has symmetry. It's called 632. There are two notations for symmetry, but one notation in Conway's notation, this one is called 632. And another notation is just P6. Now, in Conway's notation, 632, the number has significance. It means it has uh, six. I forgot exactly, but it's about rotational symmetry and yeah, you know, things like that. Uh, so back to the topic. So what I'm saying, I was saying that if you are a programmer and you study that book, you can draw, you know, you can write programs to draw these pretty images. And oh, okay. So when you program these things, it became there's another subject involved, that is computational geometry. For example, you know, you have this image. You know, this is basically hey, informatic. Finally, someone said something. Um, so informatics says, hello, just start using Scikit mod today, and it's really great. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So, so I was talking about, so this image, you know, it's just octagon. I mean, well, you know, so it's just you know, eight pointed stars. One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, eight pointed stars. But now, so you have a, you know, eight pointed star outline shape. You know, you can draw that, right, in JavaScript or whatever is your favorite language. Now you want to cut this shape. You know, you want to cut it and separate them. That is a programming job. You know, you might try to write that program. You want to cut them. Once you cut them into, you know, chunks, then you can color each one you know, with a different color. Then you get this pretty picture. Now when you cut them, the problem you run into is called computational geometry. So you will begin to, you know, you will try to find how do you program these things, and you'll start to look for answers, and that is the subject of computational geometry, and that's another, you know, big topic. So you know, you draw pretty pictures, and this one, for example, you know, there are many techniques to create these wallpaper symmetry wallpapers. This one in particular is recursion based. So you start with a shape, then you recurse, and it becomes fractured. Then you can recurse more, so you get this one. And this picture is just random stars. You know, you can try it actually. You know, try to write a program that draws these. Um, hey, informatics. So, are you a programmer? I don't have people talking. People, come on, get out, type something. Let me know how am I doing. So yeah, I wrote this program in Mathematica. Mathematica is great. So let's get back to, yeah, tilings and symmetries. Very interesting subject. And I think we are done with that subject. Oh, great, thank you. Uh, okay, so that's titles and patterns. That's I wanted to show you this math book. It's a great math book. Okay, back to Xa Talk Show. So let's talk about some other things then. Let's talk about Twitter spam. Yeah, this guy. Okay, so let me show you. Let's talk about spam for a few minutes. So I have this page on web spam scam black hat SEO collection. So over the past 20 years, spam started with email spam. That's the very beginning, like almost 30 years ago. But I would say, let's say starting around 1998, year 2000, let's say. Okay, that's roughly the beginning where the email spam, beginning with the email spam became popular. So they have statistics like Google's had statistics. When it began, like in the early 10 days, the first 10 years of Google is a very good company, and other companies too. They have statistics about spam. At some point it's like 90% of all email traffic is spam. So you have machine, you have code that just amass email addresses and send out spam. And of course, Google these days you have spam filter. And anyway, so spam started like around year 2000, let's say. And so that's one of the first thing of this spam scam and stuff. Then you have the spam email from Niagara. Dear sir, I am the son or something of a king in this Africa country, and we have $2 billion. Like $10 billion. We need, for due to political reasons, we cannot touch it. But we need if we need you. We are if you can help us get that money, then we'll send you 1 million. Actually, a lot of people fail for it. In fact, you can look up Wikipedia. I've read it. I've read the article like every few years. Niagara uh, scam. Okay. So apparently, some even government officials, like U.S. senators or congressmen or something, some of them like they have failed for it, and they got. I want to go to Wikipedia. Nigeria, not Niagara, Nigeria. Uh, Something like that. Nigerian scam. Advance fee scam. Okay, so I guess that's a technical name for that these days. So I've read this, before. So apparently, some famous people fail for it. But anyway, back to spam and scam and this kind of thing. So over the past 10 years, I got them, of course, and I regularly, sometimes I write it down. So whenever I got something, I write it down. So I have a collection of them. And first of all, okay, let me show you this. Today, if you go to Google, because I run a website, like, I run fairly popular website since, since in the 1990s, late 1990s. So a lot of people, so I know about these things. And there's all sort of tactics and techniques, and they change over the years. They change with technology. As technology, the scenery, the landscape changes, they also change. The techniques and all that also changes. So email spam is the first one, and then there's domain squatters. For example, Google.com is very popular. Then you just create a new domain, G O O O JLE.com. You know, sometimes people mistype, then they'll just go to your website instead. Then you have your ads there. But I'm pretty sure Google, you know, not in the case of Google, you know, with three O's. Google has probably taken care of it. Let's try it. GOOGLE.com. Yeah, Google has, you know, taken that. So that thing is called domain squatters. So there are people, I mean, actually you can do it. You know, there are people who just buy hundreds and thousands of domains. And, you know, when you need it, they charge you, you know, $10,000 for it. But that is also in the early days, like around year 2000. You know, these days there are still a lot of them, but not as heavy. And of course, today the latest one is fake news. I mean, when we say fake news, we usually mean the news media, you know, right? But actually, I mean, there are organizations, I mean, there are people, you know, programmers actually, you know, they make a lot of money. You know, remember these spammers, they are not just, you know, they make they are millionaires, you know, they are millionaires. They make huge amount of money, more than, you know, programmers, more than good programmers working for Google, for example. Um, so, for example, it has been researched and reported, you know, by news media. They are fake news people, you know, corporation. They what they do is they create a website that looks similar like a news organization, you know. Uh, but all of the articles are just fake. For example, they abuse the psychology of, you know, political wanting to believe. You know, for example, if you want to believe in Trump, they always write angry things, that is, uh, saying something, how Trump is being wronged. You know, on the other hand, if you believe the other side, the social justice, then there's, you know, a bunch of their fake news. But anyway, and today, you know, lots of these mainstream organizations are also fake news themselves, because they want to generate click and traffic. But anyway, let's get back to the topic. Let me show you this one. So you go to Google, search Xali, search my name, okay, and click past hour. Okay, Xa Talk Show, that's correct. Now click past 24 hours. Now you will see tens of domains that says by Xali. For example, this one. Let me magnify. This is a scam website. Okay. Now, if you're gonna do this, make sure you turn JavaScript off. You know, if you're gonna check it out. So you see this one fake, this one fake, this one fake, this one fake. They all say by Xali. Okay. This one fake. You know, so there are lots of them. So to find these, basically you go to Google and you have to click the past 24 hours or past hour or past week. But basically after week, if you click on past month, then most of these are valid. But still, some of them pass through. For example, this one, for example, this is also a kind of a scam. You know, we found Xali. You know, so you basically you have all these people, you know, trying to make money. You know, we found Xali, because often, you know, people are trying to search your name, for example. Then they'll just go to this site, you know, that website. Then they will charge, say, give us $10 or $50. I'll give you information about that person, phone numbers and all that. Okay, so all of these are good. Yeah, all these are good. This one, I suppose, yeah, this is good. I mean, by good, I mean valid, not scam. But anyway, if you go to past week, you can see that. Well, let's go to past 24 hours. So you see all these are, just scam or spam websites. So you click next. Each one, note that each one of them has a different domain. You know, this it's like machine generated domain. So if you are, if you are searching my website, be careful of these. This began to happen around 2000. I think it's 2016, mid 2016. They happen every day. They like tens, because I check it regularly. Tens of them, new domains every day, or they all say by Xali. And I noticed the topic. They have they have they have methods like farm or machines or the black market. They know what is the latest. For example, for my website, I know what's on my website, so for example, so they know, they can find out what's the latest that about Xali that people are talking about, or what I've been writing. So I mean, they have like all sort of techniques. They have crawlers. So I noticed, like, when I'm doing videos these days, right? So if I'm talking about some subject, it showed up there. Like tomorrow, it show up. By Xali, something about web spam. uh, so that's one of the, so back to the page. So I documented, many of the, now and then I write it down, but you don't have time to write all of them down, but I did, some of them every, 1 year or two. I wrote one of them down. So for example, this one is China ISP's in ad injection. So in China, so if your domain is not HTTPS, if it's just HTTP, then someone access your website in China. Then there's a middleman who will remove all your Google ads on your website and put their own put their own ads, like this one. You see this guy with the glass. This is my website. Sent to me by Chinese friends. They screenshot by Chinese friends in China. So this is my website. The top one is Google ad. Okay, so that's my ad. But this one is not mine. It's just so the middleman just injected that. So this is one of the spam things from. Okay, so you can see the code here. They just injected that. So this is China ISP ad injection. So I also want to show you, and some of these are done by programmers, just like you and me. Of course, almost all of them are done by programmers, because you need to, you need to. These are technical. So this guy is a scumbag. Okay, this JavaScript teacher. Let's go to JS_TUT. Let's go to Twitter. So hi guys, are you guys still with me? 5 people watching. Say something. So I'm gonna tell you about this guy, Twitter spam, from this JavaScript teacher. So I know that guy from like 3 years ago. Okay, Twitter. This guy, he was following me before. Hey Norman, great to see you. So this guy was following me like three year ago. I mean, he stopped following me because something happened. I'm gonna tell you, that's the story. Something happened 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But anyway, he was following me. So I thought he was a JavaScript teacher. Okay, nothing wrong. I mean, that's great. Because I'm doing JavaScript, and so before 2 years ago, he doesn't have much followers. You see, now he's got 30K followers, 30,000. He doesn't have much before, maybe a few hundred. And he's trying to sell his book. He wrote some book on Amazon about how to code React JS. But from what I've seen of his stuff, he doesn't know, he doesn't really know the hard stuff. He might have, his stuff probably good for beginners. That's it. So anyway, so he was following me and I was following him because, I don't know who he is, as a friend, friend gesture, usually I follow back. But so, he didn't have much to say and I just ignored it. I saw his, like JavaScript, what he says, it's like he doesn't know the stuff well. And one time he's asking about closure, like like he didn't understand JavaScript closure. So anyway, so yeah, so there's this guy. Okay, I didn't pay much attention until like about 3 months ago. He started to post like questions asking me like this. Okay, he sent to like 10 people, including my name. Not this one, but wait, yeah, this one. You see, Xali. So he posts this, and how about you? So he posts he so what he's doing. So he start by posting a JavaScript question like this, some generic question. Like some coders are too logical, others are something visual. Which one do you lean towards the most? So it's like a general question. Then he retreat that with a bunch of names, so he want us to reply to that. And this annoys me because I can see that that's just a pop, nonsense question. That kind of question is kind of the dramatic attraction to the crowd. Like which type of person are you? What's your favorite color in JavaScript? That kind of question gets a lot of answers. So he posed that question, then he attached, he retreat that and with a bunch of names. Then I got annoyed. I received that a few times. After a few days, another one. Then after a few days, another different question. Then I sent a reply. Can you stop? Can you stop? CC me. And it looks like he ignored. I mean, he didn't respond. I mean, nothing happens. Then after a few days, another question with my name there, with a bunch of other people's names. So I start, going aggressive. This is the third time this guy spammed us for his marketing stuff. I replied 2 times. Apparently, he doesn't see it. Then he start to reply. He says, I forgot what he says, but but anyway, so so that's when he stopped spamming me and he stopped following me. But then I noticed actually he is doing that like every few times a second. Like he's actually doing spam. He do this. He collected these Twitter account names. By whatever methods. He is doing that every few seconds, every 10 seconds. That is how he got 30,000 followers. You see, because he used these techniques. He posts to a bunch of people unrelated to the original, like not connected, because he's using retweet. Then all these people, I suppose most of them are not, beginner programmers. So they see this question, they're gonna reply to that question. So it looks like, appear to normal person, like all his questions got lots of replies. It's like all the people love his discussion. So from few hundred followers, and then he got 30,000 followers. That's how this scumbag, in society, they are these people. Let's look at his tweets and replies. You can see. Let's see. Let's see if he's still doing that. Yeah, there it is. You can see. You see, this is 30 minutes ago. Okay, so wait, does he still have that? Okay, I don't see it now. Maybe he stopped. Yeah, but anyway, that's just the case. I want to, so these people, And this is how you get actually in society. I mean, these days a lot of people are like that. They just a lot of people are like that. Okay, so that's about the JavaScript teacher spam. I want to put it out. These scumbags, and there are all sort of other funny things. Wikipedia. I think Wikipedia. The founder Jim Jumbo is also a scumbag. Uh, Jimbo, the guy. What's his name? Let me tell you why. Okay, Wikipedia, they ask for donations every year. They got a lot donations, and they are non-profit, right? So they don't pay taxes, and they got lots of money, tons. But most of the money actually just go to that guy, the Jimbo Whale. And the Jimbo Whale guy actually, he began when Wikipedia began. It's not his only idea. There's another guy. He's a co-founder, but later on, he tried to erase that guy's name. You can actually read it on Wikipedia. If you look for if you go to the history of Wikipedia, search for that, you'll see it. So so anyway, so there's a co-founder. He tried to erase the other guy's name. Also, before he began Wikipedia, he's running porn websites. Porn. That's what this guy is. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but the thing is, he tried to hide it. So he rewarded, so instead of saying porn, he says we are running a glamour website, glamour website. And so this guy is going around giving talks. Each talk is like $100,000, six digits. What a scum. And but for most people, especially programmers, we don't know. I mean, you don't know. So anytime Wikipedia asking for donations, so you think, oh, it's so great. You want to you want to donate. So I don't think it's a good. You don't want to donate. The other thing is, the Wikipedia is kind of nasty. I mean, of course, it's a great information gathering. In fact, I read tremendous amount from Wikipedia almost every day for the past 15 years. I spend an hour or so every day. It is great, but however, there's so many other things. So many nasty aspects. Wikipedia, the information they get, basically they copy information. I mean, this is a very, very, very tricky issue. I mean, you cannot say it's bad or like there's no good or bad. This is hard to say. But the point I want to say is that Wikipedia, they just copy information. They just swipe information. For example, I spent years, on mathematics or JavaScript. I have articles and many Wikipedia linked to, especially 10 years ago. But after a few years, the link goes away because people copy your stuff. In the beginning, they say, okay, this is based on xali.info or some other websites, for example. But after much edit, everyone is anonymous. You edit and edit, you improve, then eventually that original resource is like no longer relevant. So you just remove it. So that's part of the issue. I mean, this technically, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it does, But this is it's a issue, it's an issue worth thinking about or discuss because, for example, I spent years writing about JavaScript. Some of the programming stuff like you probably have experience. You try to solve something, it takes you days, eventually you found the answer, then you blog about it. Once it's out there, anyone just can copy it and reward it, and that's become their blog. I mean, in fact, this happens a lot, especially in the open source too. So I mean, so what can you do? I mean, you cannot say they are wrong, and I don't want to say they are wrong, but there is something, there's something going on that's not good because each person, authors, for example, especially also book authors. I also know, for example, JavaScript and Stack Overflow. There's a lot of question about JavaScript. where does the answer came from? A lot of it came from the guy who wrote the JavaScript book. Let's go to Xali JavaScript book review. Okay, I have written JavaScript book reviews. I have written, in fact, I have reviewed, most of the JavaScript books out there. But anyway, in the beginning, this is the greatest book, the JavaScript, the definitive guide by this guy. This really great book, but by today it's kind of old. This is probably not the book you want. I mean, if you want to study JavaScript, just go to my JavaScript. Okay, I mean, judge for yourself. But I spent 2 years writing JavaScript in depth. You can find it by just search for Java. Well, it's here in my language tutorial. So JavaScript in depth. If you want to learn JavaScript, you might try that. But anyway, I have written reviews. So in the beginning, in the most of the 2000s, this is like the book. I mean, the good part is also good book by the Douglas Crawford, which is a JavaScript expert. But nothing compared to this, because the JavaScript definitive guide actually is a comprehensive. It also covers DOM. I mean, the good part is just kind of, I mean, nothing comparable to the definitive guide. Okay, but anyway, it's getting old. Today there are better books if you actually want to buy a tree book. But anyway, so that book, so actually huge amount of Stack Overflow answers are just from this book. Like when you go to Stack Flow, like average person, I saw JavaScript question, I can just look at the book and answer it without giving attribution. Well, technically, if you are a good person, you do that, but in general, that just doesn't happen, because a lot of people on Stack Overflow, they just sit there. I mean, they want to amass the most number of points. That's a lot of people do that. They do that because maybe it looks good on their resume. So this is happening. So you copy other things, you reward it because the hacker types, the open source fanatics, they say, oh, info must be free. So I mean, this is an edgy, it's a borderline issue. I mean, you cannot say, for example, if I spent 2 years writing my JavaScript, I cannot say, you cannot, copy my stuff. And yeah, I mean, the purpose of my book is so the stuff, then you became experienced, and you can write your book, or answer other questions. That's the goal of my book. But but also, it is something wrong if you just like copy parts of it immediately without you learned much from it, without attribution. That's also wrong. So anyway, the nature, I mean, basically the whole Wikipedia is of that nature. People just copy and grab things and put it there. Then the only credit is to the Wikipedia guy, the boss. Like, no, you don't get nothing. Any contributors, including the editors, you don't get nothing. Yeah. So anyway, so that's Wikipedia. There's a lot of things about it. Like every year there are news controversies, but people forget. You don't remember what's the details. So the Jimbo guy, yeah, the Jimbo whale is very, I would say, bad person. And also the Wikipedia idea. I mean, it's just, well, it just happened on the right time. Okay, so if today, let's say, if by magic Wikipedia shut down, I believe, okay, the information will the entire Wikipedia information will immediately pop up somewhere else. So we don't really need Wikipedia. They will, because the information in Wikipedia, they are actually just, they are kind of, you can think of it as a organized information of the web. It's like all the web's information, but organized in a very good way. I mean, I don't want to like, so it's hard for me to say this. I don't want to diss Wikipedia. It's really good. Uh, but there is, issues like these. People, you know, when I remember, when I had a job back in 2000s, in 2002, I donated Wikipedia when it began around 2003 or so. They don't have servers. Their servers are crashing. You go to Wikipedia, it's busy. So they are asking for money, and I donated $2. You can actually see um, Wikipedia. Let's see. We Polyglut. That was my handle on Wikipedia. Uh, Polyglot user. Wait. Uh, User polyglot. No, I have a poly. No, that's not me. My username is P starting with a 0 instead of a O. So let's try that. So okay, so okay, so let's try that. So Wikipedia admins Otis. So okay, let me try to find it. This will be quick English. So let's just go to any Wikipedia page and let's click on view history. English and language. So multilingualism. Let's click on view history. View history. And let's just click on any user. So let's click on this guy. Okay, so now on the user URL, type my name P0LYGLUT. That's me. So that's my Wikipedia page. So I actually edited Wikipedia up to 2010. I contributed. I started a few pages actually. For example, the caveated page, I began this page, and quite a few others. I'm not listing here. But then, when you contribute to Wikipedia, there's lots of editing fight. So I'm tired of that. So I stopped, editing anything since around 2010 or 2011. So that's about Wikipedia. Let's see. And there are many quite. Let me show you one more. So maybe let me show you one more. Twitter spam farm. Yeah, and the spam techniques, spam and scan, they vary. They change every year. There are many interesting techniques. For example, on Twitter, one of the technique is favorite spam. Like everything you tweet, someone will favorite it. They favorite like 10,000 every second. They favorite someone's tweet. When they do that, you have a urge to follow them back or look at their account. you know so in actually a lot of people in the Emacs community, because one day I noticed why every time I tweet JavaScript, for example, I noticed a few years ago, then there's this guy always favorite my tweet about JavaScript almost immediately. So this been going on. So I don't know who is that guy. So I look at his account. There's nothing. It seems just a normal guy. He's a CEO, and usually he's a CEO of some company. And I'm glad. Oh wow, someone appreciated my JavaScript. Article so much. But that keeps happening. Then I became suspicious, and I looked. Then you can find out that what he favored. It turns out he favored every second, every 5 seconds he favored something. And that guy is also popular because he's also followed by other Emacs users I know. And of course, then I know he's just a scam or spam. So there's a lot of techniques, and also yeah, and anyway. So let's read the comments. So how long have I been talking? Wow, 1 hour already. So did you ever consider self-publishing ebooks for your content? Well, I considered it, but usually ebook, yes. I mean, so okay, so one of the things people, some people want printed book. So in print for printed book, if you want to publish, you can go to like lulu.com. I think they charge some fee. Um, so that's printed book. Then for ebooks, for example, Amazon, you can do that on Amazon. I haven't done that, but basically you can, you know, you can open an account and do that to sell it via Amazon. But of course they charge you. I don't know how much. I forgot. I don't know how much, but maybe what percentage they charge you each of your book sale. um, I didn't do that because for kind of several reasons, several miscellaneous reasons. One is that I'm selling my Emacs book and JavaScript book. For example, if you go to xali Emacs, Xali Emacs, practical Emacs tutorial, and you go to almost any page, download where to download. At the bottom you'll find buy Xali Emacs tutorial. So I sell these. You can click and PayPal and buy it. If you do, great. Do that if you like Emacs. And I get money, the whole thing. I charge $30. I get the whole thing. And what you get is a HTML, basically the entire website in HTML without any ad or tracking stuff. That's all being removed. Uh, and the advantage is that it's extremely fast. Instantaneous when you click on something. Instantaneous. But the whole thing is also free. On the web. Um, but if I go through Amazon, they'll charge part of it. But also for Emacs, Emacs is just a narrow. You don't have much audience. I mean, to Emacs users, we think there are a lot of people, but actually, with respect to the whole thing, you don't. There's not many people actually. Maybe you sell one book a month. Uh, and also Amazon will take a percentage. I don't know what's the number, but they'll take a percentage. Then also there's a task of converting your stuff to ebook format, which is not trivial. It's almost like writing the entire thing, because in HTML format right now, like it's like each topic is one HTML page. uh, you know but in ebook you have to convert all these. You have to merge them and put them in, convert them into chapters and sections. It's not trivial. So it's almost like writing an entire book, and that's going to take full time for half a year at least, including if you also including the Emac list tutorial. So all the and also suppose I write a Emacs book in print. Let's say I publish it via O'Reilly. Let's say O'Reilly, the most famous big name, published my book. How much do I get? Not much. It's like you get $3,000. That's it. Let's suppose my Emacs book published by O'Reilly became the most popular book for Emacs. Most popular. How much do I get? Maybe 4,000, 5,000. That's it. Because I've done research on the subject. If you wrote the most, let's say JavaScript is 1,000 times more popular than Emacs. You sell it on Amazon. You look at the authors, the JavaScript authors of the most popular JavaScript books. They have written about it, how much they make. You make $10,000. That's it. Not even that. I mean, we are supposing you are the number one JavaScript book. The most sold JavaScript book on O'Reilly, from O'Reilly. You get $10,000. That's it. And how much time you have to spend? You have to spend full time 1 year at least. That's how much you have to spend, and that applies to my Emacs and Emacs list tutorial and my JavaScript tutorial as well. So if you work as a programmer in 1 month, you get $10,000. And also, I learned that most book authors, vast majority of them, like if you look at all the O'Reilly books on programming, vast majority of the authors, they are of the type like me. Like they don't have a job, and usually they are learning something. Basically almost all books authors, all the books, even the bestsellers, the author are learning the subject when they write the book. That's usually the case. Doesn't matter what subject. It's always written by the person who are actually learning the stuff. That's kind of interesting, yeah. And but so I'm learning the subject. For example, if I'm learning a new subject, I write a book. That book becomes the bestseller, and that book is actually authoritative because in the process of writing the book, even though I'm learning it at the time, but I actually became the definitive authoritative author on that subject matter. Anyway, so that's an interesting aspect about book authors. Most of them are like that. Like all the popular programming books, basically. By the way, how about YouTube disabling the search filter by date? What do you mean? By the way, there's an interesting thing about YouTube that I don't know what can you, like, for example, if you go to a YouTube account, let's say, for example, let's go to this Bachwell Temple Clavier. So you go to any YouTube account, like you click this guy's name, and you click the videos, so you can see all of his videos, the list of all his videos. And if you click by sort date, oldest first, that never worked for me. Oh, it does now. That's strange. Okay, so it worked for me. That never worked for me before. Anyway, how about YouTube disabling the search filter by date? What do you mean? So Norman says, I think programming books are usually labors of love or advertising for consulting. Yeah. A book, they say it's a vanity thing. Especially today, you have what's so-called vanity press. You know, like if I want to write a book, I can self-publish it. You know, it's called Vanity Press, so that I'm the book author. You know, I'm an author. But anyway, so anything interesting going on? So I've been talking for over an hour now. That's fast. So I talked about spam today. Well, okay, I've talked about math tiling books, tiling subject. Very interesting. Okay, so that's math tiling stuff and spam. So I guess that's it for today. How many people are watching? 6 people. Okay, I think that's it for today. If you search for a subject, the by date filter doesn't work. Oh, okay. So apparently there's a bug, I guess. So that's why it's not working for me. So I guess. So today is Friday. So where are you guys from? No, Informatic and Noman and TI5AV. Where are guys located? Like time zone. So today is Friday. Right now it's 5 o'clock p.m. in California time. Serbia. Wow, amazing. That's like Eastern Europe, right? And Norman is from East Coast of USA. So let's go to Google Map. Have fun. Google map. Let's see where is Serbia. This is like a lesson in geography. Well, part of the reason is like the world is so big. Actually, if you don't have a friend in some places and you just don't know, like other countries, remote other countries. So we have a globe. Let's go to Serbia. So were you following me for Emacs stuff? How did you find me? Serbia. Now, where is Serbia? I always like to look at maps. Like whenever I have a friend, they tell me where they live. I like to look. Then I like to dive into the street view and look at the cities and the people. My Emacs, great, thank you. Serbia. Oh, above Greece. So above Greece. Oh yeah, so I think I have a friend who lives in oh yeah, Serbia. Oh, okay, it's really big. I like to say we Americans, don't know about all these countries. Uh, but other Americans may not agree. But anyway, so okay, so Serbia is here. So what does Serbian look like? Like let's drop into a city. Let's see what's a busy wait. Oops, wait, dropped into the wrong place. Ah, that was a beautiful place. Oh god, shit. I have to do this all again. So anyway, I think that's basically it for today. But I mean, I'm just having some fun, looking at what language do they speak there. So it looks like it's using the Cyrillic alphabet. So let's look at Serbia. Okay, so this is probably some kind of a relic, like a tourist attraction. I don't like, when I look at cities, I don't like this kind of thing. I want to see the actual people, you know, the normal daily lives of the cities. Okay, so this almost looks like California. This, I mean, just you know, looking at this, just yeah, like if you just show me this picture, I wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, I might think it's just down the street. So what language? Serbian. Okay. So is English popular there? I mean, is it taught in like high school or what? Oh, and informatic is from. Wait, okay. Anyway, so anyway, I think that's it for today. Thank you guys for coming. Younger generations know it. Cool. Morocco. Oh yeah, I remember Morocco. Let's look at that next time. Thank you guys. Bye.